Ukrainians are actually using civilian drones to drop grenades from above to supply vehicles and lightly armored vehicles. We have a video from Ukraine showing that Ukrainians are using civilian drones that have a grenade attached to them. They will then fly over the Russian vehicle, release the grenade, and it has a tiny parachute, and thus Ukrainians have converted a dumb munition, a hand grenade, into a very smart weapon dropped from above by a drone. My friends, this is the northern front of the Ukrainian defensive lines. We have Kiev, Chernihiv and Sumy. Russia has been trying to take these cities from the very beginning of war and has not been able to. All of these cities are still holding on. From the northern front, we see videos of destroyed Russian equipment every day. This front is holding strong. This is the southern front. The weakest Ukrainian defensive line is here. But this is about to change because yesterday something interesting happened. This is Mykolaiv. For the last week, Russians were trying to take this city. They couldn't. And yesterday, Ukrainians counterattacked from Mykolaiv towards Kherson. Now let me remind, Kherson is the biggest Ukrainian city occupied by Russians, and it is a very important staging ground for further operations. Ukrainians want to take it back. They have started the counterattack operations.
We pull the enemy back from the borders of our city.
As much as we know right now, Ukrainians have counterattacked and cleared the area halfway from Mykolaiv to Kherson. And they have also used their air force. This is Kherson airport. As soon as Russians took Kherson and the airport, they immediately started using the airport for their fighters and helicopters. But for some reason the airport didn't have any surface-to-air missile systems. So Ukrainian Air Force decided to just bombard the hell out of those helicopters. In this photo you can see the aftermath of the bombing. There is at least 7 Russian helicopters destroyed on the ground. Now that is an expensive loss. And it also shows that Ukrainian Air Force still packs a punch and Russia does not have air superiority still. Mariupol is still surrounded and the civilian situation in that city resembles Stalingrad's. You could call what's happening to Mariupol civilians a genocide. Another very big coastal city Ukraine has is Odessa. That is east from Kherson. Odessa has not been massively bombarded yet. The army and people in that city have been preparing for the landing from the sea. We see Russian warships again near Odessa. There have been some missile attacks from the sea to Odessa. At the beginning phases of the war, we also saw Russian landing crafts near Odessa. We were all waiting for the landing, but it never happened. For the Russian forces to land in Odessa would be a bloodbath. And it could only be done if Russians are sure that land forces will catch on very soon. But Russian failure to take Mykolaiv, a very important staging area to attack Odessa, has prevented Russians from reaching Odessa via land, making it impossible for Russian troops to land from water. But the fact that we see Russian landing crafts again near Odessa gives us an idea that they have renewed their attack. And they're planning again to take Mykolaiv and reach Odessa with the ground forces. My friends, these videos are possible thanks to Patreons. I will now read you 5 new Patreon names decided to support this channel, and I'll be reading them with my Estonian pronunciation. We have Artificial Legacy, Toomas Ars Nova, David Mann, and Narrator 007 said the Estonian numbers. Thank you to all of you 5 people for supporting this channel. I really appreciate it. If you want to support this channel, hit the Patreon link in the description below, become a tier 10 or above, and I'll be reading your name. The admin for the Estonian Soldier Discord server, Nate, is engaged. Let's all congratulate Nate in the server. He got engaged with his girlfriend in Las Vegas. Congratulations to you both. I wish you all the happiness. We have a video from a Ukrainian soldier operating behind enemy lines, destroying a Russian Ural truck with a low anti-armor weapon. Here are the exact coordinates of the location of this ambush. You can see a Ukrainian recon drone following the truck. You can see the man taking up position ahead of the road. You can see him hit the truck. I mean, a truck is very soft. Taking it out with a low is not a problem. He was very precise. He hit it in the front, so the engine is dead. And you can see how the truck loses maneuverability and just slides out of the road. There's a lot of Russian troops in the back. And I'm surprised to see how they react, or actually how they don't react. I think I'd be jumping out of that truck and hit the ditch to find cover immediately. As much as I know, it could be a bigger ambush. Machine gun fire could soon follow. Truck is dead, and the troops probably fled. United States has decided to step up its game of support towards Ukraine. They're now going to send an additional $800 million worth of military aid. I will read you the list, what it includes. But this $800 million gets Ukraine 800 Stinger missile systems, 2,000 Javelin shots, 1,000 light anti-armor weapons, 6,000 AT-4 anti-tank weapons, 100 tactical unmanned aerial systems, I'm assuming these are the Switchblade drones, 100 grenade launchers, 5,000 rifles, 1,000 pistols. Every higher officer could now walk around with a US pistol. 400 machine guns, 400 shotguns. I haven't seen a big use of shotguns in this war, but it's a very mobile war. Shotguns are very useful in urban warfare and trench warfare, but not in the forests. Over 20 million rounds of small arms ammunition, 25,000 sets of body armor, and 25,000 helmets. Now these helmets and body armor, they directly save lives in the battlefield. Let's talk about the Switchblade drones. These are kamikaze drones. One man can carry anti-personnel drone, or you need 2 persons to carry anti-armor drone. The launching area can be set up in 2 minutes, and if you shoot the drone in the air, it can stay up there for 30 minutes. It has a camera and live feed, and you control it through a touchscreen. It's like weaponized recon drone. Switchblade 300, it's a very tiny drone. Its explosion resembles the explosion of 3 grenades combined, and the killing radius is up to 50 meters of where it lands. Speed is 60 miles per hour, and the dash speed, the speed which it dashes down to the enemy, is over 100 miles per hour. It's very hard, almost impossible to shoot it down. Switchblade 600 is anti-armor. It's a top attack like a javelin, so we already know it's going to be very effective. We've already heard what Bayraktars are doing in Ukraine, and they're causing more fear than they actually destroy. Yes, they do destroy a lot of Russian equipment, but all of the Russian army has heard about them and they're afraid of them. So the psychology behind these drones does a lot more than the munitions themselves. And these Switchblade kamikaze drones would only make it worse for the Russians. Ukraine right now has about 20 to 40 Bayraktar drones. Well, now they would be getting 100 Switchblade drones. Their range is about 10 plus miles, and if Russians know these things are up in the air, they're not safe anywhere. And for the boots on the ground to live in fear like that, it doesn't matter where you are, you can be hit by these drones. This fear has an effect on the entire army, day after day, grinding down their fighting spirits, and the morale is already low. There's a lot of fear already. So these drones, even if Ukraine doesn't use them, if Russians know they have these kamikaze drones from America, the fear it causes does a lot more than these 100 drones can do. But yes, these drones will be used to take out Russian command posts. We already have seen about 5 generals killed. Well, this number will skyrocket after these drones. Immediately, if you know a location of a general, you might not have a free Bayraktar to send. All of them are busy with the fire missions. You can launch one of these drones with 2 minutes, take out the general, and that's it. In this video you can see a Ukrainian machine gunner shooting at Russian positions when something peculiar happens. He is saved by his machine gun. A Russian bullet hits his weapon. He gets hit with a shrapnel. Now, I'm not sure if he was wearing a body armor, but I can tell you this, a shrapnel from a bullet will not penetrate body armor. A direct bullet might. This is where the 25,000 body armor sets sent by the USA come into play. If Ukrainian soldiers are wearing these body armors, then situations like this won't kill that soldier. So I hope he was wearing a body armor. There's a lot of talk about the no-fly zone, and NATO and its allies have confirmed it's not going to happen. But what they are going to do now, this is big, they're going to send Ukraine a lot of Soviet-made anti-aircraft missile systems. Now these systems have a much higher range than the Stinger. Ukrainians already know how to use them because they're Soviet-made. Ukrainians have proved that they can shoot down 1 to 2 Russian fighters per day with Stinger missiles. Expect Russian fighter losses to skyrocket. In my eyes, yes, NATO is not going to enforce a no-fly zone, but they're giving Ukraine every possible means to shoot down every flying Russian aircraft they can see. If we're talking about the anti-tank capabilities, then actually Ukraine produces their own. They have an anti-tank system called Stugna. Now it's not fire and forget like Javelin, it is laser guided. And laser guided makes it more dangerous because if you shoot the missile, you have to stay on the spot and guide the missile through laser. In this video you can see it being used. With Javelin you fire and you run. That makes it impossible for the tank to hit you back. With Stugna, you fire, you stay there, you guide the missile with laser until it hits the target. And Ukrainians have been using them very effectively. And let's go back for a moment to the political sphere. There's a country in Central Asia, Uzbekistan. Now, that's a name you don't hear much, you don't hear anything from that country. It's fully and deeply into Russian sphere of influence, has been from the break of the Soviet Union. So it comes as a surprise to the whole world that Uzbekistan suddenly decided to condemn the war in Ukraine. Uzbekistan is fully dependent on Russia. And for them to say this is to break a 30-year-old tradition of not criticizing anything Russia does. And we have more countries in there: Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan. These Central Asian countries fully in the Russian sphere of influence. They have never spoken out against Russia. The fact that Uzbekistan is doing this shows cracks in the Russian juggernaut image. If the neighboring countries of Russia stop being afraid of Russia, well, I think that is the end of Russia. The Russians have never admitted they're dead. They have only admitted 498 dead during the whole operation. Well, the US says they have about 7,000 to 8,000 dead, and Ukraine says they have about 14,000 dead. In Moscow State TV, they admitted the death of Colonel Sergei Sukharev of the 331st Guards Parachute Assault Regiment. He was killed near Mariupol from a Grad attack. Ukrainians also have Grad missile systems. Took out the colonel. A few months ago, there was a widespread uprising in Kazakhstan, and Russia decided to move its forces into Kazakhstan to suppress this uprising. Well, this colonel and his unit was the one sent into Kazakhstan, into Almaty. Also, Russian parachute forces are considered to be elite forces, not special forces, but above the regular infantryman. And the fact that their colonel got killed probably means that a lot of the parachuters were killed. We know most of them were killed, actually. And the fact that Russian state TV admits the death of such a high officer, it says that the Russian image about the war is beginning to crack. They cannot hide their dead anymore. We actually have information that Putin has sent into Ukraine about 100 tactical battalion groups of the Russian armed forces. Well, altogether they have about 170 battalion tactical groups. But Russia has big borders. It needs most of those troops to protect its borders. They have disputes with Japan over some islands. They need to protect their border with Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, China. It's not like Russia can move in 170 out of 170. This number actually tells us that almost all units that Russia can move into Ukraine have been moved into Ukraine. My friends, thank you for watching. If you like these reports, then please support the channel. Patron link is in the description below. You can also go and join the community in the Estonian Soldier Discord server, link in the description below. To get full access, you gotta become a member of the channel, but it's only 99 cents. Have fun. And as always, until my next video, Slava Ukraini.